I think we got a caller on the line, Sue, so we're going to break and talk to her. Judge Jeanine Pirro, I believe, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Good morning, Judge Jeanine Pirro. Welcome to the Ward Scott Files.
Good morning. How are you?
Well, we're broadcasting here from the Man Cave. This is the Warthog Man Cave. Just wanted you to know about this setting we have here, Judge. We were safe here from the snowflakes. We're not going to have anybody come in here and tell us we're not sensitive and we're full of hate. We have... So
if somebody does show up, I'm sure we can tell them where to go.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm really interested in what you got to say tomorrow night at the keynote speaker. You're really welcome here. I'm hoping you have a wonderful time here. We are basically here in Gainesville. It's a blue place. We're surrounded with red. So you're going to see a lot of red that normally doesn't stick its head up around here because we have a liberal press. We have all sorts of people here from the academic community who are sponsors of the fake news. But here on the Ward Scott Files, we try to keep it coming as much as we can. That's why we love to hear from people like you. I don't want to belabor your excellent past because I know you have got a stellar reputation, domestic abuse and elderly. I want to cut to the chase. It's on the minds of our listeners. And Judge, what I get confronted with all the time is, are we going to get and bring to justice Hillary Clinton?
Well, I must tell you that, as a prosecutor, a judge, and a DA in my other life for more than 3 decades, it really stuns me that the Department of Justice has done nothing regarding Hillary Clinton's emails. And then we find out about the foundation, then we find out about the uranium one and the sale of our uranium to Russia that wasn't supposed to leave the country, that has left the country, and the pay-to-play where the Clintons got $150 million into their so-called charity, which is everything but a charity. And, Big Bill there gets $500,000 for a 20-minute speech in Russia. So what we've got to do is, put the pressure on to make sure that Hillary Clinton is accountable. And the amazing thing? The amazing thing is the more she gets away with, the more that comes out. I mean, you look at Donna Brazil's book, and I don't mean to promote it, but I'll tell you, everything she says in that book makes perfect sense in terms of what has happened. We've got the Democrats who created a narrative of Russian collusion, and it turns out that they paid for that narrative. They created it, they bought it, paid for it, and they're trying to muddy our president with something that doesn't exist that they created. And, it is time for, fair-minded Americans to come together and understand what the facts are, what the truth is, and what needs to be done to get America back on track. Because, honestly, what Barack Obama did to this country in the last 8 years, it's going to take a very stern right turn to get it righted again. And I look forward to being in your neck of the woods tomorrow.
Well, we're looking...
I am so excited about talking to people and answering your questions down there.
Well, Judge, we're certainly looking forward to seeing you. I have been concerned here on the Ward Scott Files. We've had a lot of guests over the time, some from the justice world, who are very concerned about prosecutorial misconduct. We know that Comey played softball with the Clinton investigation. She's been permitted to destroy evidence. She said she didn't mean to do it when intent wasn't even part of the criminal part of the law. We know that Comey leaked notes. What are we going to do about this prosecutorial and these liberal judges who keep reading ideology into what should be an objective analysis of the statute?
Well, when you talk about Jim Comey, and I'll talk about this tomorrow night, I worked with him. When I was a sitting elected district attorney, he was the United States attorney in the building next door in White Plains, New York. And, he comes across as, a very honorable, decent guy. But every word that came out of his mouth almost when he made that announcement on July 5th or whatever it was, that Hillary, no reasonable prosecutor would ever consider prosecuting her, I knew the man was lying through his teeth. And it was very sad, to be honest with you, because everyone knows that this is the kind of evidence that you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt of her wrongdoing. And finally, his decision to cover for Loretta Lynch and his decision that he was the one who would announce what the Justice Department was about to do is so out of what his job was that he crossed lanes in order to protect Hillary Clinton. And the bottom line is that Jim Comey needs to be the target of an active criminal investigation. He needs to be someone who is looked at in terms of his drafting and exoneration. I mean, when you write that the person cannot be prosecuted before you interview 17 witnesses and the target herself, you've got an agenda, and you need to be made accountable for that agenda. And unfortunately, America is suffering in the ripple effect of that corruption and that wrongdoing. The Clintons are nothing more than a dark stain on this country's history. And it's time that the Department of Justice took its job seriously and started prosecuting criminal wrongdoers.
Well, Judge, I agree with you completely. Let me ask you about this. Do you think the Nunes's Intelligence Committee has any chance at getting to the bottom of everything? Because it's our opinion that that is the real investigative arm that should be doing this. It should be done in Congress. We don't need a special prosecutor.
Well, you know what? It can be done in Congress, but they don't have the right to indict. Congress does not have access to the grand jury. We need a special counsel to be able to identify wrongdoing on the part of Hillary Clinton, Uranium One, the Clinton Foundation, the emails, national security. Because if the Justice Department isn't going to do it, Lord, then what other choice do we have other than a special counsel to go after the Clintons? And Bob Mueller going after the Donald Trump was like put the fox in charge of the hen house. And I'll talk about all this when I'm down there in Florida on Thursday, and what I want to do tomorrow. What I want to do is I want to explain it to the people there so that they understand it, so they're armed and they have all the facts. Because what is happening in this country is it cannot be tolerated. But Americans are better than this. We are not a third world country where money, power, corruption, control the United States of America. Our founding fathers are spinning in their graves right now.
We couldn't agree more. Are we going to get anything? Another question coming in is, are we going to get anything out of Jeff Sessions?
Well, you know, I have no idea whether we're going to get anything out of Jeff Sessions, but the weekend, that Friday, when his Department of Justice came out and said, we're not going to prosecute Lois Lerner, the woman who was the key person in the targeting of conservative groups and 501c3s. And this woman in the IRS who gets off scot-free by our law and order administration is a signal that we're in big, big trouble. And right now, we've got Hillary Clinton and her 501c3 foundation that's a pay-to-play, taking money from foreign governments. And at the end of the day, it turns out that Hillary Clinton's 501c3 should not have been, approved, and yet ordinary, hardworking Americans get theirs shut down or they're targeted. It's a real problem.
Well, it certainly appears to us as a double standard. We feel that the country really is at stake here as to whether we're going to turn a constitutional rule, whether we're going to get judges in. I'd like to have your comments, if you please, ma'am, on the federal appointments that Trump can make, will make, and whether or not he'll get them made.
Well, we're hoping that something can be accomplished, and I'll make it clear tomorrow as to the number of Democrats that were approved under Barack Obama to the federal bench, and how we're being held up right now by the likes of Chuck Schumer and the rest of them. But there is a problem. There is a problem that has to be worked out. The Democratic Party right now is nothing more than the party of obstruction, and they're doing everything they can to make this president not succeed in his agenda. And we need the American people to support him and to recognize that these, liberals and liars are shut down in their effort to shut down America.
We got one more category conversation that comes up, Judge, and that is the lack of campus free speech, the free speech restrictions on campuses.
We'll talk about that tomorrow night. I'm looking forward to it. The shutdown by the Antifa and the First Amendment rights, and the irony of the free speech that was, had its genesis on Berkeley campus, not shutting down the free speech rights of those on the right. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and let's hope that you are going to be there.
Oh, I'm going to be there. I'm going to make myself available to say hello to you. It's wonderful to talk with you.
To it.
And you're going to have a good time. You're going to have some good Southern hospitality. You're going to be out in the country. The setting is wonderful. It's truly is an equestrian dirt floor, so wear your boots. And
that's what I heard. I'll be there with my boots on.
And you'll have a great time. We'll see you tomorrow, Judge Jeanine. Thanks for calling, and thanks for being on the Ward Scott Files show.